Hello, welcome back to Latte Hour. Today we'll be talking about the Corporate Transparency Act. So I would like to begin with when one becomes conscious, they begin to look within. So a conscious America must look within to the Department of the Treasury's FinCEN enforcement of the Corporate Transparency Act. If you don't know the history of how this act came about, please do your research as today we will look at the present time. So from here on out, we will refer to the Corporate Transparency Act as CTA. So CTA requires business owners to file a beneficial ownership information or BOI report. For more specifics on this report, you can visit fincen.gov. But the report basically requires personal information from people who control at least 25% of a company. The collection of this information is supposedly to fight financial crimes in the name of national security. There is a list of company types that are also exempt, like banks, large operating companies, financial services companies, etc. They say these companies are exempt because their industries are already highly regulated. However, these industries seem to be the ones with great financial power. So you see where one could believe that this isn't really a fight for national security, but for more control over the people. Also, keep in mind who usually sits at the top of these regulated industries. At the top of the Treasury Department is the Secretary Yellen, and our Attorney General at the moment is Merrick Garland. Also look across those industries to see, what's going on in those companies that are exempt. I would definitely encourage you to research that. Now, many citizens are concerned about their privacy, being that they chose to file their business as a LLC, S Corp, etc., to somewhat provide a level of privacy and liability protection. There are at least 6 ongoing lawsuits that are questioning the constitutionality of CTA. Notably is the District of Oregon rejecting a motion for a preliminary injunction. The judge was Michael H. Simon, who we should also ask, what does this judge have in common with the Secretary of the Treasury and the AG? The judge was Michael H. Simon, who basically rejected the motion because the plaintiffs were likely to not be successful in their case based on what they showed so far, and that Congress does have the authority to enact CTA. So basically, this judge threw out the case before considering it due to those factors. So if you have investigated who sits at the top of these industries, what people have the power, and then you kind of start to ask, well, why did this particular judge reject this motion? Those are really good questions to ask. So is there still hope? Should the public buy into the system that is so clearly controlled financially by a tight-knit group? Well, for now, the Northern District of Alabama ruled CTA unconstitutional. However, only the plaintiffs in the case are exempt until the matter is fully adjudicated. The government has also filed an appeal in the 11th Circuit Court. Also, in Texas, plaintiffs have sued again, challenging the constitutionality of CTA. This is in the Eastern District of Texas. If the court sides with the plaintiffs, it also might only exempt the plaintiffs and not all Texans, similar to the Alabama case. So, an injunction for all by the deadline may be far-fetched. In the meantime, call your congresspeople who, unfortunately, are probably influenced by the same group holding financial control, but you can always try. Also, can the president stop this action with any executive order? A very good question. People can also start to ask that. One of the theories is that these group of people who control America financially were likely the reason that we have a new Democratic Party candidate running, if I can say that lightly. So if the president can do an executive order, this could be his last act of defiance, right? So just something to think about. Oh, and one of those 23 types of businesses that are exempt, a bank pled guilty to money laundering, the very financial crime they say this is supposed to help protect us from. The BOI report is supposed to help protect us from this, yet one of the exempt institutions have now been accused of that very thing and have pled guilty. So look into that case. The AG came out with kind of a presser about that case. I believe it was TD Bank. So yeah, look into that case. So yeah, go figure. So again, how does the BOI reporting help when it doesn't include the very groups that would be likely to be committing financial crimes? So the real question that one could come to is, are they really going after the record number of people who filed for LLCs between 2020 and now? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Why should we give up even more freedoms in the name of national security? Thank you all for listening. Hopefully you do your research on this case and see what you come out with. See who's holding the financial bag in our society and who's advocating for this. Do your research. So again, thanks for listening. This has been Latte Hour, and hope you're enjoying a nice warm latte and enjoy the rest of your hour. Bye now.